this point. What's next? Okay. At this point, we're handling the creation of WebSocket, then the message received from the server. Then, so we are here, we are going to update our storyboard. What if we need to send our dragging a sticker? Okay, this will be on drag event of the drag and drop. Then we will use WebSocket send the representation of the string after appending all the string in format of JSON. This object, we will stringify it to send it to the server. Then we will finish our client. So now we have the drag event. What happens on drag event? I'm just when I'm going to drag, here are the boundaries of the client rectangular, okay, which is the event of the drag, okay. This is the new object we are going to stringify, okay, which is dragged sticker, which is the sticker name. They get the attribute data sticker, which is the sticker name. The offset of the, which is x and y, offset of the dragging event.client x bound from left. Then client y bounds from compute x and y from left and top. Fine. Then the drag text. Okay, we have an object. I can send it to the browser. I would like to send it in JSON format. Use JSON, stringify, just bypass this. Then event.data transfer set data text drag text. Okay, what is this? There is no WebSocket. Send, because I'm dragging on the canvas. I'm sending this information to the canvas. So in drop, we are going to take this object. This is context calling between the dragging object and the context of the canvas. I'm sending this data to the canvas. When I'm drop, I'm getting the data from the context, then draw this data on the canvas. Then after that, send it to the server. It's like context maintaining. When you have a filter or interceptor in EGB, okay, and you have some modification in object and you send it in the context and you get it in the context from your EGB component. This is the just context. This is drag and drop context. Okay, save this information in the context. When I go in the drop final stage, get from the context, then let's play with the data, sending to the server, drawing it, whatever we want to do like. Okay? I'm just handling the information about the object I'm dragging, so I can drawing it. Here is drop, which is important. One. Okay. I think this much better. Okay. Here is our event, preventing default behavior of the dropping. Then I get the boundaries. Again, drag text. I get it from the text what I have set on the previously in the context in terms of text, which is this. I'm getting this object. Okay. Then I parse it again to an object in terms of JavaScript object. Because I stringify it before, I would like to parse it again into object so I can work with this object. Then this is a new object I'm going to send to the server, which is action adding. I'm adding new sticker. Then here is my X, my Y, and the sticker name. Okay. Then socket.send JSON stringifies this object, which is sticker to send, and please log this message, okay, in my log, so I can see what I have sent to the server. Any question? Fine. Yes. It doesn't care. You send a message. Yes. You don't care. If you care for this, you can send immediately response to your client that I received. In some situation, you need this behavior, but you can handle this on message on the server. You can take the message, propagate it to the other users, or you can also send confirmation back that I received your message. You can do the same, but normally you're sending a message. Yeah. No, on the server, it is on message, you can return data or it's void based on your case. Okay? Because you can deploy multiple WebSocket endpoints, one, for example, for registration, one for handling client. On message on registration should send back confirmed your data is correct and there is no problem, or send back any correction message. On the other part, on your service, I don't care for sending back data. I'm just getting the data propagated like chat. For example, chat, you would like to tell the user you're connected. Okay, here is your friends. Here all the data for the customer. Then for chat, you get the message propagated. You didn't send confirmation for propagation. Those are some helper methods that maintain our log, maintain our this is needed because of specification that you prevent default actions when allow drop. Then this is just for toggling your log. You know, you see that log the message. Log the message come from the server, this method. So we can toggle, open a sidebar, showing us all the messages sent and come from the server. Okay? Fine, here's the count of the log. This is the log message. And then finally, if we ran this code, it will not work because we didn't call the initialize method. We should call it on the load Windows onload event. Now we have finished our coding for the client. Okay, it may be if you're working just with WebSockets, it's more simpler than this because here I'm trying to, as a running example, I worked with many APIs from HTML5 specification, so you can see the beneficiary of HTML5 and how all of this specification work together to build a richer application, okay, powered by Java or whatever your backend. For you, it's a starter example to know about WebSocket, about HTML5, about JSON data, drag and drop canvas event, all of this stuff. Okay, that's fine. Now we have finished. Let's back to our presentation. Any questions till this point? Okay, it's clear for the client? Fine. Let's see Java EE support for the WebSocket specification. This is the first time to support WebSocket HTML5 standard inside Java EE, which is inside Java EE 7, okay? And we are going to enhance this specification in Java EE 8. And we have richer APIs in Java EE 8, especially for security, for scalability, for caching, for HTML5 specifications, like we are going to improve JSON API. We are going to support cloud computing, because the lack of cloud support is there is no standard, specific standard. Each company has its standard. So we need a standard for the cloud in terms of connections, in terms of if you work with Oracle Cloud, it's different from Microsoft Cloud, it's different, it's not standard. Like JSON, for example, it's different format, so we can standardize it. Did you get the idea? Okay, there is a survey I have shared in my blog. We are asking the community, which functionality would you like in Java EE8 before we start developing Java EE8? So we get the developer interest in APIs, then we start to focus on these APIs that will work, that you would like to work with. Which a problem in each specific APIs. Most of the concern, we need to less and less the configuration. We do this by annotations. As you can see, there is no XML for now representation you can bother yourself with. It's now, it's called configuration by exception. What does it mean? If you do some configuration, this is the exception. It's the default that you just write your component, it should behave normally. Like WebSocket, annotate your methods. When you deploy it, it should work. If you need some extra configuration, this is exception above the normal way you are writing your code. So concentrate in your business. Okay, it's defined under Java Specification request 356. This is API for supporting WebSocket version 1 in terms of GSR. What does it offer? The current specification, it offers client-server standard-based WebSocket application, so you can develop endpoint, which represents the server. You are deployed on the GlassFish, WebLogic, or whatever the server, and you can define at the same time client, connect to this endpoint from your Java application. Is it useful? Indeed, is it useful? Why? I can use it. First point, in JUnit testing. We do this now for all the specification. In WebSocket, you have a client. In any server-based component, you have a client from Java you can connect. You can get benefits from 2 points. First point, in JUnit testing, even we did this with GlassFish, we made it embeddable. So you can run the GlassFish from inside your JUnit. You don't need to up and running your application with all the resources to just test my component. The same, the RESTful WebSockets, soup-based. It's defined normally under endpoint in JDK. And the WebSockets, by the way, have in Java 8, Java SE 8, have a client to connect it from SE standard communication. You don't have to use Tyrus implementation. So you have 2 points. You get benefit from the client JUnit and connecting from other Java component, maybe from other servlet, from other EGB, from whatever your client Java-based applets, JavaFX component, whatever it is, instead of other, which is PHP, JavaScript, whatever your client is. The second is you can work with annotation-based endpoint, okay, and interface-driven one. What the difference between the two? Can you figure out? Annotation-based and interface-based. Interface that you are going to implement in specific interface, override specific message, okay? Then you have the calling. They have the same life cycle, but one is controllable by you. You can intercept the message before it's receiving, and you can do whatever you would like to message, like filtering, for example. Your message, you have the control of the life cycle. The other point, I'm not mind to, sorry. I don't mind, okay, but I wouldn't like to bother myself with the interception stuff. So I just would like to concentrate on the business, writing my component and behave the normal life cycle. This is annotation based. I'm sorry for this because I'm very exhausted. Sometimes I fail. So you are disconnected. All of your own close message will be called, notified for this. Okay, a separate client server side which can just the same endpoint just annotated with @client endpoint instead of server endpoint. It will act as a client. Who implement this specification other than Java? So if I would like to connect to other servers, it's a standard. We have Java-based server, which is Wildfly, which is JBoss version. Wildfly now it's version 1. It's a mimic for JBoss version 7. Now why it's Wildfly? It's the first JBoss application server that's certified on Java EE 7. We have, this is JBoss application server. We have Jetty, we have Grizzly, we have Autopan, we have Apache Tomcat 7 and 8. Web profile. We have these servers, and the most interesting for sure GlassFish version 4, because this is the reference implementation for Java EE specification, and it should support all the APIs introduced under its specification. By the way, Oracle are not going to support GlassFish 4 anymore as a support version, as a support application server. You can use it as a just reference implementation. If you depend on GlassFish as a production, you will not get a support. Okay, they will concentrate on WebLogic. So now you have small version of WebLogic, it's around 176 meg. You can download like instance of WebLogic, can work with it. And by 12c, it supports JSON API and WebSocket API. Okay, but not fully Java EE support. 7. It supports Java EE 6, but have the capability of WebSockets and JSON standard API. This is somehow gateways transforming from HTTP request to WebSocket, and from HTTP to WebSocket if you are working with WebSockets. They just transform a gateway. It's many gateways. Okay. Third, the specification itself allow you to provide support for Java EE platform for creating WebSocket component handled by directional messages, as we have said before, initializing and intercepting WebSocket event by the event-driven, interface-driven, okay, endpoint. You can implement the interface and intercept all the life cycle, okay, of the on message, on close. Before each message calling, you can intercept and get the message, filter it, compress it, whatever you want, like filters on servlets. When you would like to just play with the request before you get into your component, and playing with the response when you get back to your client. This is the filter. Here you can intercept your messages. There is no filter here. Then you can create and consume of WebSocket text and binary. You have this capability, post type of messages, ability to define WebSocket protocols, and the content module. For the application, you can configure and manage WebSocket sessions in terms of concurrency, in terms of number of connections, like timeout, retires, cookies, connection pooling, everything you can configure this. Specification also specify how WebSocket application will work within Java EE security module. No one asked me, how can I handle WSS, for example, secure WebSocket connection? How I can write security module for WebSocket? Is it different than HTTP, servlet? It's the same. We try to make it the same. So if you have security module in WebXML, this is confidential, the same as Java EE component, which is servlet, or any Java EE component, the same modules, the same URL, connections, confidentiality, everything you would like to do. There is no change required just for defines security for WebSockets. Okay, how can I package the WebSockets if I'm running in EAR packaging or WAR profile? It's so simple. If you're client side, just in the class, your class plus the resource package as a jar. Okay, you have a jar file, and you connect from this jar file to your clients. It's a client base, which is annotated with add client. I would like to connect to the endpoint. I am a client. Just put it in a jar file, and you can call it. In the web container, only WAR file packaging. Okay, why WAR file packaging? Why not EAR? I can package only WebSockets inside WAR file. So you can work with this in WAR profile, which is web profile, or the full profile, but in the web components, website, under WebInf libraries or WebInf classes. Why? Do you know why? Especially because the web profile, the component which handles the HTTP request and TCP, you can't put it on with the AGP connections because this is server side handling connection pooling and whatever you call it, another protocols. So it doesn't mean that you can deploy it on the server side with EGP. You can deploy your EGP in separate ear, not WAR. You can't do this with a client packaging on the ear side. You have to do it in web WAR file, web archive file. You can define that as a class under your package, under classes, or as a jar file under your lib file. How can I trace? How can I trust this is not HTTP connection, it's an WebSocket connection? You have extension here, I'll show you. It's not really, by the way, this is Chrome, net internals, then events. In each connection here, you will find this is WebSocket stream. When you open, this is getting all your connection to any client from the web. You will find if you open LinkedIn, if you open Twitter, if you enter your Facebook and any service, any connection sent to any server outside your domain, you can get it here, all of them. Then you can filter on your message that you're interested in, then you will get your filter. Just a click, you will get all the messages, header, request, response, time, content, everything. I'll show this because it's not just appearing here, it's in normal WebSocket. This is my URL to my WebSocket connect. It's socket stream, not HTTP normal like others, like this one, like this one. Let's explore the API. Okay, not hello world. This is a very, very simple endpoint interface. Just you have your class, annotated at server endpoint. This is your URL that you would like to connect. And most important one is just, which is mandatory. You can't deploy your WebSocket without this method. All the other on close, on message, on close, on error, on open are optional methods. Okay, this is your message. Did you see who's asked me? It's void on message could be void or okay. Did you see here? I'm returning string for the customer. So mimicking my composing my message, then I can send back to response to your. If you don't care about this, you can put this void, no problem. Okay, annotated endpoints. Okay, let's see the WebSocket annotations. We have server endpoint, the level on the class, and it turns your Bujo into WebSocket endpoint. So it can work now, but it's still missing something which is on message. On open, you will see all the names like JavaScript names. On open, it will be on level method. It intercepts the open events during client connection at the first time, like initialization, like init and servlet. Okay, client endpoint, just on class base, turn the Bujo as a client endpoint. On close, on method level, and we have on error, intercept errors during a conversation and send it to the user without closing the connection. Okay, bear this in mind. The connection is not closed. I'm just sending the error, handling the error like try catch. Then we have this is specific one. How many of you works with RESTful web services? You can define variable parameters. Okay, like this is my URL. At the end, I would like to get me the employee number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just square brackets, then your IDE, your variable. This handle this stuff, but one level only, not multiple level, only one level of the URL. You can define variable, then variable, then variable like RESTful web service. This is only one level. The level is method, parameters, okay, and the flags a matched path segments of the URI template as it works in JAX-RS. That's all of the annotation based that you will work with in the endpoint. All of them are optional instead of this, and this are mandatory. If you are going to read the specification, you will find this. Okay, other public API from WebSockets, which is important, which is the session. This is one of the most important. This session is mean client. When you get a connection, it will be represented in a session object. From the session, you can get the client ID, you will get client connection, you can talk to your client back, sending the data, sending anything to your client. We are going to use this now. If you are going to save your client in a list, this is your client, and you are going to propagate the message back to your clients through this. One of the most interested, and you can read all the methods inside this. Here is the timeout, all of this thing, like HTTP session, which represents your client. By the way, it's a sub-interface from HTTP session because I have said before that it's upgrading level to TCP based instead of HTTP. Okay, encoders, one of the most important ones if you would like to encode and decode. Yes, which is always in your messages in backend, you would like to get GPAs, which is entities, private methods, beans, Java beans, specification. Okay, you get from the client string representation, JSON string representation. So the encoders and decoders, the main functionality is intercept this message, the messaging, and you can write your logic to convert it from string-based to object. And when returning back to the client, you can convert from object to string-based JSON string-based, send it to the client. Okay, it will happen automatically. Just you need to just write your code that handles this. During the connections, it will call automatically. What improvement we are going to do in Java EE 8 for this API? We will introduce binding. JSON WebSockets binding, but it is not in this API, in the JSON API that we are working with, because like XML JAX-P binding, you just annotate your message with the variable names. It should be handled by the server. You will find all the values are populated, all your variables populated with the value, okay, corresponding to the variable names. Decoders is vice versa of encoders. Message handler, you are going to work with this only if you work with interfaces to intercept the message. Programmatic endpoint can be defined as this one. I just chat server, extend endpoint. This is one of the most relevant ones, overwrite and open, and you can session.add handler, a message handler, and here your message handler that get the message, and you can play with the message, return to the customer. So you have the management of the life cycle of each method and control. Okay. What's more, level 1 template like this. If you have something like this in your endpoint, this is a variable, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, X, Y, Andrew, all in a whatever. You need to get this parameter here, submit it in this variable to work with. Okay, you should do this like SBI, specification interface. For what? Sometimes you can find another API is more relevant to you from current API. So we we provide a standard interface, could be implemented by other vendors, okay, like any vendors, IBM, Google, whatever, so they can add plugins to your component, okay, and you can just replace, put it in the class path or some property files. I can read this from and work with WebSocket without changing my code again to the new API that I would like to work with, okay. How to define a custom payload. Do this on the server endpoint. Here is my value as a URL. Then define your encoders and decoders. How to define encoders and decoders? Something like this. I can put it in one class. It will handle both decoding and encoding, or you can do it in separate classes. And just here, text and binary. Okay, this is the object would like to work with. And here's the encoder. The most interesting one is will decode. This sometimes, shall I decode this method back to the client or not, based on the return value. It's maybe true or some logic that return true or false. If it's returned false, it will not decode the message, will send it as it is, okay? Encode will get the object that encode means. You now have the object and would like to send back to the user string. Here you're converting your object to string. And decode, here you're getting the string from the client and will be passed to this decode and give you pass to for the on message. If you have, for example, this object, an on message, the connection, the client send you a text. Then what happened? The encoder will intercept. Then getting the string message, pass it to this method, convert it to the object, this object, and then pass it on method. Then you get the object with the values. It's confusing a little bit, but you're going to see this in the code. It's just interception. You're getting a connection, a message from the client. And it's a string based. But in my code, on my own message, I would like to represent it as this object. Okay? And I have coded my encoder. So I would like to tell my own message, please encode the string to this object. This happened here. It takes the string or the binary and encode it here to your object. Then when you send back to the client on message, maybe return a string and you work with this one. So you will return your string back here. It takes your JSON object and your logic is here and will be returned to your client as a JSON representation. Okay. The WebSocket client, just this is the definition. You just annotated with endpoint on message, the same as the server, just this is the difference. How to unit test? So simple. Tyrus provides something called container provided, which will use it for testing, something like this. We have WebSocket container. Okay, we get the WebSocket container context. Then here is our URL that we would like to connect. Container, please. This is our client we defined previously. Then this is URI. You will send the message from this. Okay, it will use on message of this client to send the message and get the message back. And this method will return you. You can, sorry, where is it? Yes, this method had return types based on your defined return type in the client. On message contain your logic.
On one. My question is here in the last line, the client send a message to a server to that URI. Yes, but which message does it send?
Which message?
Which message?
In your method, this is just the final calling. I'm showing the final calling. Before this, you have to play with some variable that populate your own message on this. Then after that, you call this. It will call your own message on this instance of the class.
Thank you.
This is just a snippet of the code. Before this, you have here to pass the object that represents this class. That on message of this class will be called. But before, you have to just getting information, putting in this information is replaceable in the on message, then the on message will be called automatically from this point. Let's develop our server. I have finished all of this yucky stuff from talking. So let's do it and implement our server side to serve our client, which we developed before. Any question to the specification or to this kind of long talking? Yes, because I hate all of this.
Is there a way to create and register new WebSocket endpoints at runtime? As I see, there is a path param, and we can turn our WebSocket endpoint to a kind of router.
Variable URL, for example. Yes. You can do this here before sending a URL as a variable. You can append here, and this is just string, plus message as a variable. This message is dynamic, and you can send it. On message will be this message will be sent, then your server will handle this variable.
But as I see, in this case, we've got a God object which serves everything. But if I want to register a new endpoint, for example, a new chat room, a new product discussion, or some...
The levels, do you mean the levels of URL?
Not the levels. I'd like to create a brand new endpoint.
You mean that I would like to send a variable with also a message?
No.
Do you mean this?
Let me ask my question at the end of your talk. Sorry.
Ask me.
Then.
After that? Okay. I'm sorry I didn't get you, but I'll try to get you. You will not go to your home till I get your question. Okay, let's do it. We have 4 components here we are going to develop: decoder, encoder, the endpoint, and the object, which is mimic GPA object or just normal Java Beans object. Okay, those what are going to work with. We are going to define our objects. Okay, let's see the object that represent the message, which is X, Y, and the message name. Why I do this? Because I would like to show you how to convert to work with decoders and encoders. Okay, most of the cases you are going to work with database, so you don't would like to on message to do all the conversion stuff and boilerplate your own message with conversion. Do it in separate interface like decoder and encoder, and your message just concentrate on your business. Okay, here is my GBA validated, for example. Okay, then send it to the database, save it, or get your results. This kind of management your code. And one place that you can reach your conversion API, maintain the changes without changing your endpoint. Maintainability. So let's close the site routing. So on the server side, we have a sticker here. Okay, the sticker just contains string representing the image name, X and Y. It's normal Java object. It's big enough to you can see the code, or much better? Okay. This is our sticker. Okay, object. let's see the decoder. Here is a decoder. I would like to decode. Okay, decode means the message that I'm going to send to the user. I'm decoding my content to the user, to the format that client understands, which is a string in my case. But before seeing the decoder, let's see the encoder, because I have a message. What I'm going to do with this? This message will be encoded to the sticker. The encode will take the sticker object. Okay. Here is endpoint. You don't have to implement. This is some configuration, but here is destroy if you getting from any other resources you would like to handle, closing, file, reading, and closing all of, would like to make sure that all your resources are clean. You can do this in destroy. So I'm interested in this encoder. So I'm working with JSON API. Okay, I would like to create my object. I get my object, which is sticker. Yes, see it. I'm not creating the object. I'm just creating the string format from the object. Okay, because here you pass the object itself, which is your object, and I would like to convert it to string representation or JSON representation of your client. Okay, to send it as a string. Sometimes you will find me telling wrong words, so are you wake up or sleeping?
Can I ask a question? So for every value object that we have in the system, we should write the encoder and decoder, right?
Yes.
So is it possible to create one encoder and decoder and then place annotations in our value objects saying, okay, this is gonna be, you know...
you need something like usable for all your messages. You can do this by defining general interface for all your messages, and you pass this interface because all the objects are innocent of this. Okay, you created just, you can handle in this encoder or decoder if this instance of this object do this in one place.
Okay, cool.
Okay, I'm getting the JSON provider. Then I would like to create an object. Why? Because on the server side, it's object. Okay, objects mean beginning with curly braces. Fine, I would like to add action, then X, then Y, then the sticker name. Then please build this JSON object, okay, and write this stream. It will be written in terms of string representation. Okay, I have finished the encoder.
So the message will travel as a string. I mean, after encoding and decoding, we will have string messages on the protocol level. But the
3 messages?
Yes.
It's one message.
Right. I mean string. The message will be string. The type of the
stream?
String.
String, yes.
Okay. The WebSocket protocol itself allows extensions, which means you can, on the protocol level.
On protocol level, it's normally sent as a binary data.
Right, but
in the packet level.
Yes, the packet itself, it allows extensions. And the API looks like it does not give us any sort of control over the frame itself.
Because we're dealing with, if you see, previously I have explained that JavaScript implementation of WebSockets defined that you can work with arrays, binary data, and string. So it doesn't mean that I can add more data types that the client can send. I stick with the base specification, which is IETF which is Internet Engineering Task Force protocol, defined that here is the data you can send, string and binary, and the specification of the JavaScript built on this specification and tell us that we are going to send binary data and string. So we build our specification on this.
Precisely, but the IETF specifications says that we can build protocol extensions.
Protocol extensions not mean that the type of the data. Protocol extensions mean that you support multiple protocol inside your service.
Exactly.
Like I said, yes, this is allowed, but in the configuration you can, in server endpoint, you can define the classes that support your protocol, and you can define the protocol. Because of when you send the handshaking, there is, I would like to work with this protocol. Do you support it or not? Then the server, no, I am support just this protocol. This is different than the data type. It's a protocol. You are correct. We can define the protocols as you can. No problem.
But it's a part of the container configuration.
Yes.
Clear.
Not
Clear.
container configuration. This is your endpoint configuration.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I would like here to see that I would like to decode my method, which means I'm getting from the client string, I would like to convert it to my object to work with, which I have passed to on message. Then here is the reader, which is read from the connection. You will get this is handled by the container. Okay, you will get a reader, which contains a stream, which is string. For now, if you send binary, you will get binary. So I know this data is coming as a JSON format. Then I created JSON provider. I create this from this provider. Here is my stream to read the message from. Then this is a JSON object contained because I invoked read object. It will convert the string to object. Then from here is my sticker. Then sticker.setX. Please, JSON sticker, the get X, get Y, get sticker name as they defined. In sequence, this is the message is sent. If you send X the first line, you will get X. Y, Y. Okay, sticker. Then return the sticker. It will be returned to one message as an object. Okay, this is our endpoint. Any question? Let's see the service itself. We have here just sticker endpoint service. What would you like to do to turn it to the Buju, to WebSocket service? Just add server endpoint. Okay, with your value, which is the URL that you are going to connect. Then I have defined encoder and decoder. I would like to configure them. Please use this encoder and decoder to intercept my message to convert them and decode them back to the client. That's fine. Where is the URL? I don't remember the URL, so I can get it. Which is the storyboard. That's it. One thing missing. Can I deploy this as it is? Yes. Yes. Put it in the array practice.
So in which way the service resolve what
Which
decoder or encoder to use in this moment?
Based on message specification parameter list says that you have to put first thing the session, then the configurations, then you have multiple list of object parameters. So you can define all the parameters you would like, and the server, okay, will check the decoder based on the message on the object you have sending.
Okay, thank you. Will you show?
I don't have. I have only one message, which is this. But I'll show you that you can define on the specification. You will find, okay, which is GSR. You will find the API, Java API. You will find the definition of the method, how it looks like. Okay, which parameter, which optional, and the parameter list. So again, what is missing here? Can I deploy this service? Don't say. What's missing? Okay, let's do it. But before this, I have told you that this service should do some, thank you, should handle the business of our storyboard. So for every client connects to this our service, I would like to maintain this client. Okay, it's fine. Then after that, I would like to maintain all the stickers, put it on the board. Second, why? Because if anyone entered in the middle of our playing, I can propagate all the stickers to him or her, okay, to be part of the latest show. Then, okay, when we will register the client and register the stickers, and when we will send the message, and when will we release the users. Okay, we will work with three things. We will do our initialization in which method? In which method? Our initialization, saving the user, maintaining the user, the sticker. Yes, an open. But before this, here is some list of the stickers and list of the sessions. Okay? Then we have to define an open. An open just, I'm interested in session. I'm not interested in any configuration. So I put session, okay, then sessions.add, then for each user just initialize and connect it. If there is any interactivity for first time, you will not get any stickers because it's first time you are connected. No one play with the storyboard. Okay, if you after 5 playing or something like this, you will have 5 stickers, for example. So if you entered in the middle, you should have these 5 stickers. So you are on the show. You are being on the show, okay? For this, I'm handling this. For each sticker in my I have handled, please do this for this client. The client get basic remote connection, send the object sticker. Before the object is sent, here is the encoder, okay, will intercept, convert your object to JSON format and send it to the client. Fine. Then we will see here in the log how many users connected. We'll check this. Okay, I am connected to you. I would like to add a sticker. Who will handle the add stickers and the interaction between the client and the server on message, right? Let's define on message. Here is on message. I'm just interested in 2 parts. The session itself, which is the user are connecting, and the other part is the sticker which he sent to me to propagate it to other users and maintain it to the session. Okay, stickers.add. Okay, I have 2 stickers, 5, 3, 7, Then for each session means for each user, please send this sticker to them. So we are updating all the users at the same time for the added sticker. If you're playing chess, if I put move, I would like to propagate this move for audience and for the player. Okay, this is what I have meant. Then the open session, okay, get basic remote, send the session, the sticker for the user. The same, the encoder will be called to decode it from our objects to string. At the same time, you will find here the sticker. Okay, what does it mean? It means that the encoder will get the string, convert it to object, and pass it to you. Finally, if the user tries to disconnect, okay, which method will be called? On close. So I need, when the user closes the session, I would like to remove this user from my session. Not the stickers, because the sticker is part of my storyboard. All I have to do in this message, I'm interested in the session, just sessions.remove. So my list will be, instead of 3 users, will be 2 users, will be 1 user, no more users. Okay, on error, just also I am considering if there is any error for this user, remove it from the session, he should connect again. Or you would like to send some messages to the user who had the error. Then let's see the error if you'd like. Let's run this project and see the interactivity. Thank you. I'm finished. Any question till now? I'm going to run to see the interaction. Okay. Thank you. Here is our storyboard. Okay. Let me create another user, but let me show you something first. How many users are registered? On open, closed, cold, registered users, session.size, I have 1 user. Great. Let me connect another one. But at the same time, I didn't do anything with the storyboard. So it expected on the storyboard of other client, it's empty. Let's from Safari, for example. The same. Okay, here's another storyboard. Fine. Let me I'll add this. Let me add this fat guy. Let me. Yes, I would like just you see the interaction. I'm fat guy. I would like to drop here. Okay, I'm going to kill you. Yeah. Where I am? Hey, where are you? I can't see you. Are you here? Yeah. Fine. I'm dead. Then okay, this is I'm coming to kill. Yeah. It's fine. Other users. Did you see the interaction? Let me show you something. Final thing. Let's open, for example. I'm going to just connect. Thing that I have. It doesn't support. Fine. What's your problem? Check with you. Let's open new window. The same stickers. Why? Because I have registered all the stickers. This is a new user. I would like to make you at the final show of my storyboard. Yes, thank you. Any questions? I hope you enjoyed the session. I give you a lot of some information. This is the specification, some information about HTML5 specifications, and you can figure out when you can use WebSockets. It's not repressive. One of you asked me, I can't, sometimes I need a response from the user, okay? I'm trying to repeat the questions during our break. I need response from the user. So what can I do? Should I, HTTP is relevant. Okay, WebSocket is not replacing HTTP. You have some problem with HTTP in such, like the ticker object that we, as a use case, I represented as a use case. It's not relevant to use HTTP. This is just a bullying from the user, from the server all the time. So in terms of bandwidth, it's relevant to use WebSockets. What if I would like to get messages from the server? I'm not interested. I'm just would like to, if you have an update, just send me. Like what? Like money exchange service. You open your page, if there is an update you would like to receive, you don't have to bull every time. Use WebSockets. In multi-environment and real-time notification for critical alerting systems, security systems, use WebSocket. But if you would like to register yourself for service, you should get a response that you are registered or not to use HTTP. So it's not replacement, it's some kind, we are solving some problems that related to HTTP. So now it's relevant to use HTTP in the HTTP cases and responses and all of this kind of stuff. And if we have problem with messages, you can use WebSocket. It's another API. It's not replacement. Okay. Thank you very much.